Okay, so what do you think about? Have you seen social media accounts that are shared accounts? Like a couple shares one account
Yeah, I think those
on
people are
social media.
weirdos.
Tell me more.
I think those people are weirdos. They First of all, social media is a very, very personal thing, right?
I think it just depends on the person who
Uh,
opened the account and their intent for it.
so,
Some people do it sheerly just for entertainment and it's not personal at all. They're completely different offline than they are online. And then some people, it's like, dear diary, you
so
know?
if you do it for entertainment, that
Mm-hmm.
even that entertainment is personal. Like the algorithm is set to your personal preferences to what you like. So
Mm-hmm.
to have a joint account, unless you are marketing yourself as a couple, like if you have some type of business that thrives on you being a
Okay.
couple,
Yeah.
then I can understand it. But just two regular people, he works as a greeter at Target, she works in a cubicle somewhere at a call center, and they decide to make a profile together on social
I don't
media.
claim to understand it. I'm just
That
saying
is
I've seen it.
that is textbook insanity.
I was wondering if you had any insider thoughts about it because I don't know. We're like
No.
individuals. We need our own individual accounts.
Yeah,
What about
exactly.
passwords?
Passwords. Now sharing passwords, I can kind of understand it. I can kind of not understand it.
Give me both sides.
So on one hand, people have a right to privacy, and
Mm.
privacy is important, no matter what. Because even if you're in a relationship, for someone to go into your profile, to go into your things and look at things out of context without you being there to give context,
Mm-hmm.
that's intrusive,
Okay.
and I don't like it.
Then you don't like
I don't like it.
it.
But on
Okay.
the other hand, having that level of transparency where you don't have anything to hide and you're okay with your partner seeing any aspect of your life, I think relationships also need that.
So we didn't even think about it or discuss it, but I actually for a long time didn't even have a password on my phone, and neither did he. And I didn't feel a need to actually go in it. However, if my phone was dead and I needed to call somebody, I just pick up his phone and call it, and vice versa. It was never like an issue. But then when
Right.
you start hearing people talk about it, it's like, okay, but like, like that's a big deal now. So much so, it was a
Right.
Super Bowl commercial. If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, wasn't it one of the
I
Super
don't
Bowl
I don't remember
commercials?
that particular commercial, but
But I've seen like other commercials, even on social media, where I think the guy was in an ambulance or something, and his phone was in the car that he had just wrecked, and the significant other was gathering his stuff. He jumps out of the ambulance to go back and get his phone before
yeah.
they take him to the hospital. Like it was just that important. Like it's it for me. The phone isn't a lifeline. Just like social media, it's just like another tool.
Right.
If I'm in a relationship, first of all, why do you feel the need to have my password? It's not a secret.
Right.
So now I wanna go deeper and ask more questions.
Yeah.
What is it that you're afraid of, or what is it that you're looking for? I mean, I'll open it and give it to you, but there's a deeper problem if you feel like you need it.
Exactly. And
Like,
that's the
what is
double-edged
that?
sword of it. That's what I'm talking about. Like I understand both sides of it, but that's the double-edged sword of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm transparent enough that you can have my password and I will hand you my phone and let you go through it. But I'm also curious as to why you feel the need to do that. Like
Mm-hmm.
why you feel like you can't, like what are you looking for? What is it that you expect to find in there that you want to go through my phone? So the situation that you explained, where you didn't have any password on your phone and he didn't have any
Mm-hmm.
password on your phone, and that just happened organically for you as a couple, and you all could go back and forth with it. That's one thing where it just happens naturally. But then it's another thing where it's like I have a password on my phone, and somebody's like, "Give me the password to your phone because I want to go through it."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Why?"
Do you think there's some type of behaviors that could possibly come like ahead of the ask?
Potentially, but I think that needs to be told. That needs to be said, right? That
Talked
needs
about.
that needs to be
Yeah.
talked about ahead of time. Like, hey, I have these questions. I would appreciate it if you answered these questions for me, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of these questions would be answered if I had access to your phone. Cool. Okay. Cool. I'll do that. I don't have a problem with that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where the transparency comes in. All right.
Yeah.
So that brings up an interesting question for me. How can couples set healthy boundaries when it comes to social media use? And I'm sure you have experience with this being married for as long as you have been.
A little bit, but my husband just he didn't care. he just he was the most IDGAF chief. He just didn't when it came to other people's opinions about stuff, he just didn't let anything really rattle him too much.
Okay.
However, um I didn't feel like I had to be super private, but there are things that I mean, there's you living your life and what happens inside, and then there's what happens outside. There are some things that are just for your relationship,
Yeah.
period. The intimate things, like you don't share that on social media.
Right.
So if you wouldn't share it outside, then don't share it online.
Well, yeah, some
I
people.
know, I know that some people do, but you have to understand like who you're with
Yeah.
and their level of comfort and where they are with things. And a rule of thumb I think that makes sense is if you have to question it, you probably shouldn't post it.
That part.
You know, because if there's a question around it, then just leave it off. Don't it doesn't need to be on there.
Yeah.
It was just that simple for me. But then we always have to circle back to intention. Like, what's the intent?
Yeah. Right.
Like, is there somebody else out there that may recognize you? Like, am I the only one married here? And you might have another wife on social media or
Right.
another relationship that doesn't know anything about this, or somebody might recognize you. So you
So.
have to know the person that you're with and that you're dealing with.
So yeah, having another husband or wife on social media is low key diabolical. Uh.
Then there is apparently this thing that happens that I've heard of that people don't post their significant others because it's almost like, have you ever seen a group of kids and one kid suddenly wants to play with a toy that nobody else was even thinking about?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now that I got it, now everybody else wants it.
Yeah. It makes them a
And it's
target.
like a target, but then that's the fear that surrounds that.
Yeah.
So that's been what I've heard reason why people won't post. And to that I say, well, that has to do with the person that you're with. I mean, other people can do whatever, but if that person is locked in, then what does that matter? Because
Well, it.
boats sink from water that gets in. Like relationships are broken from the inside, not from the outside. If so, then there was something wrong on the inside to begin with.
But it also depends on that person's presence on social media. So if that person has a large presence on social media
Mm-hmm.
and it brings about questions and random people sending direct messages and inboxes to that person that are is unexpected
Mm-hmm.
because of the thing that happened, right? So one of the things that comes to mind with that is, have you ever seen the movie about Frank Lucas?
Yeah, it's been a couple of you. The one with Denzel.
Yeah, Original
Yeah,
Gangster.
yeah, yeah.
I think it was called Original Gangster.
American Gangster.
American Gangster.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of it. Yeah. So American Gangster, right? Frank Lucas gets identified because he wore that fur
I
coat
remember that
and that
high
hat,
profile. Mm-hmm.
right? And that brought attention to him, and then that attention eventually became his downfall. A lot of, I think that that's also possible in social media. I think if your partner is just trying to showcase you, is just trying to post something innocently, but it brings unwarranted attention to you, that could be a downfall. That could be a negative thing that you view because now people know who you are and now you're getting friend requests from people that you didn't expect because
Mm-hmm.
people are nosy and
People
uh,
are nosy.
yeah. So now you're getting friend requests. Now you're getting inboxes. Now you're getting personal questions about, and it might not necessarily be about you because people don't know who you are, but then they're asking questions in relation to your significant other because they saw you in a picture or a post or they said something about you. And that can get crazy.
Mm. Do you think social media contributes in any way to relationship envy?
Definitely, 100%. I think in this day and age, 90% of relationship envy comes from social media. And it's so goofy because they don't understand that these people are promoting a product.
I feel like if there is a relationship envy from social media, that you don't understand relationships.
Right. Going back to the thing, this is not real life. Real
Well,
life,
it is. It's just certain
it is
certain snippets of your real life, and in some cases, it very well may be staged.
it is so
But
I
think about it. Think about the people that are closest to you, not even in a romantic way, right? Think
right.
about your parents, your best friend, whatever. All of those people, sometimes you don't like them.
People
And
don't
that's
consider that.
normal, though.
Again,
It's normal. It's not always sunshine, rainbows.
go to Walmart and
Oh
look
my
at
God, your
2 a.m.
obsession with
and
Walmart
look
is
at the
blowing
people
me.
in there. Look at the couples that are in there. That is real life. Those are real couples. Look at the people around you. Like I it's so this obsession with social media being a depiction of real life, it really, really gives my soul heartburn. Like my whole soul gets heartburn behind this because people will ignore lived experiences, real life lived experiences,
Hmm.
real life experiences that they've seen, real life illustrations that they've seen with the people around them. They will ignore all of that and focus on one thing that's displayed on social media and say that's a depiction of real life.
I really appreciate there was an interview that Michelle Obama gave about her and Barack, and she said there was a period of time where he got on her nerves. And people
Yeah.
went nuts, and I thought they've been married a long time. I'm sure she's gotten on his nerves too, because that's just the evolution of relationships.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they don't love each other, that she didn't love him or he didn't love her. It's just they share a whole life. There's aspects of that when you're gonna collide.
My best friend, who has been my best friend for 30 years, right? When we were young, we had a fist fight. We punched each other in the face. I threw him down a flight of steps. He hit me in the back with a Wall Street Journal newspaper. It's real thick, right? We've had fist fights. We've had falling out.
And you're still
But
friends.
we are still best friends. Like if anything goes down in my life, that's the person that I call. We've had falling outs.
Hmm.
It happens. But let social media tell it. Everything is all peaches and rainbows and sunshine. And people run with that. Like they don't even
Yeah.
look at their real life experience that they've had with their friends, with their family,
Hmm.
with everything, every relationship they've ever had in their life. They've had some falling outs, they've had some disagreements. They ignore all of that and then they listen to some person on social media trying to sell a class or a book or something and they're like no, if your partner really loves you, then they'll know everything that you need all the time and it'll always be amazing, and if you ever feel any moment of sadness or disappointment or disagreement, then that person isn't for you.
Oh yeah, no. So delusional.
Yeah,
Just
it's
but even how we're
crazy.
socialized for it doesn't help. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
help. But
yeah.
seriously, it follows the same course of direction as any other relationship, except it has added elements to it. But
Right.
just developing it, the longer you're there and the more you get settled in, you start noticing things.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it doesn't mean that it was a bad decision or that it's a bad relationship, but it does mean you need to have communication, you need to have realistic expectations.
Yeah, you need to have a conversation about it.
You need to learn each other. I
Yeah,
think a
right.
lot
You
of
need to
times what
learn each
happens
other.
is that people start doing way too much way too soon. Like, why are you living with somebody you just met 3 weeks ago? No, seriously, like, why are you living with someone you just met 3 weeks
Because I
ago?
don't like my current living situation because my mama don't let me do what I want to do, and I need to get out of her basement. And clearly, you have an apartment
So let's move in
that's in your
together.
name, so let's move in together so that I don't have to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
So that because I am currently facing eviction, and I want to get this debt off of my back. And I think that you would be a good way for me to do that if I just
Your voice.
live with you and slept in your bed instead of having to pay for my own.
I think we'd still, even without social media, I think we'd still have relationship envy because people attach meaning to what they see. They attach a whole different narrative or story or, just whatever they made up in their
Yeah.
minds. And then Harlequin romance
I,
novels.
right. I don't think it would be as rampant though because those things are fleeting and social media is
hmm
always there. It's literally in the palm of your hand. It's
24/7.
literally in your pocket
I have to agree with that. Probably has
all
increased
the
it
time.
a lot. Yeah.
Whereas the other things are things that come and go. They pass.
hmm
It's 15 seconds of seeing it and then you go on with your life. But social media is always there and they are always pushing pictures and images and videos and
hmm
things in front of you. And the way that the algorithm works, if you watch one video and you spend 15 seconds on that video,
You're gonna keep seeing that
they're
stuff.
going to send you 200,873
Oh my gosh.
videos
Yeah, that's
of that
right.
exact same thing over and
hmm
over again on repeat. And they show you an advertisement every 3 posts. And so you see it constantly. It's constantly in your face. It's constantly bombarding your brain with these images of your inadequacies, of how your relationship isn't this, but it should be that. And it's crazy. Anybody will it can plant a seed of doubt in pretty much anybody, even the most confident person.
hmm
Even the person that's most confident in their relationship, it can plant a seed of doubt in their mind when you're constantly being bombarded with that.
Mm.
I took an advertising class
Oh,
and
advertising definitely works. It's a
yeah,
billion
and
dollar industry for sure.
right, and
Like you could be minding
repetition.
your own business, not thinking about anything, and the bomb ad for a pizza comes across, and then suddenly you're ordering a
Yeah.
pizza. It might not even be that one, but plant. I get what you mean as far as
Yeah,
planting an idea.
right.
But
Repetition
again, I
is a
still have to go
form
back.
of
You have to
advertisement.
really know yourself and know what you want and what you're getting into.
Yeah.
I have said to many people, and it's hard when you're already married talking to single people, but people have asked, you guys have been married a long time, or they're thinking about getting married. And I always say the same two things. One, there are small words with a whole lot of meaning. For better or worse, worse than what? For richer, for poor, how poor are we talking? Till
Right.
death do you part,
Yeah.
right? That's heavy. That's a lot. So
It's
my question to them
it's the
is,
till death do me
if
part
this
for me.
person that you're so enamored with that you want to spend the rest of your life with suddenly couldn't do anything for you and you had to care for them, and by that I mean maybe you have to wipe them up or clean them up on a daily basis,
Yeah.
would you still feel the same way? Would you still have the level of love that you have today? If there's a pause, it's not a bad thing. It just means you probably need more time.
Maybe you ain't
You
ready.
might not be ready
Maybe you
yet.
ain't ready, but I want a wedding so
I don't
bad.
even know
I
if it's the
want
wedding.
a flex for the
You know what I think
gram.
it is? And I think it probably differs along the gender line, but there is, for women, there is this social status that comes from being married. Now there are a lot of people who say they don't want to be married, and some of that is valid, but
Right.
some people say it as a form um, of self protection. I'm gonna say I don't want this thing that I really want in case it doesn't happen. Then I'm cool. I save face.
Yeah.
Then there are people who want to be married, not realizing exactly what that is. That it's, again, love is sacrificial,
Yeah.
and that you're gonna have to pour out into that thing. And not only that, your marriage a lot of times will reflect back to you your stuff.
Yeah. It's similar for men. It's just marketed differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's marketing. It's not the marketing for men isn't as glamorous.
I was gonna say, do you
It's
think
more
a
shame
man
based.
having a so married men, if he's a leader of a church, I know is a big thing. That's a,
Yeah,
so like you it's almost frowned upon if you're single and leading a church.
right.
Like you need to hurry up and get married.
Yeah, it's marketed very differently. Things that are marketed at men, especially in the context of relationships,
Hmm.
are less glamour based and more shame based.
Shame based. Give me an example.
Shame based, like if you've been dating someone for 2 years and you haven't proposed, what type of horrible, animalistic, psychopath,
2 years I get.
closet
10 years I
homosexual
don't.
are you? Like, do you even like women?
Oh, so then that whole thing, questioning of your sexuality, comes up.
Yeah, yeah. Like, do you even like women? Like, I've had that question. I've on social media, I've posted, I just want a fair and equitable relationship,
Hmm.
right? It doesn't need to be 50-50. It doesn't need to be any of these buzzwords. I
Hmm.
just want a fair and equitable relationship where we both get the things that we want out of the relationship. And I've literally had people comment, tell me you hate women without telling me that you hate
Just
women.
based on that one
Just based on
comment.
that. And I'm like, what did I say? What did I say that
Your
was so
face.
wrong? Like what did I say? That was so that says I hate women. Like why do you hate women so